Before you fall asleep tonight, something is already moving inside your house. Not loud, not sudden, so quiet that your breathing will almost hide it. You think tonight is ordinary. You think your room is safe because it looks the same as it did this morning. But ordinary nights are the ones that change everything. Right now, your eyes feel heavy. Your body is relaxing. Your thoughts are slowing down. And that is exactly when moments choose you. There is a reason you clicked this. A reason the title pulled your attention at the exact second it did. Because what is about to happen does not arrive with noise. It arrives when the world believes you are done for the day. Tonight is not about fear. It is about awareness. Every house has a memory. Walls remember voices. Rooms remember emotions. Corners remember what was never said out loud. And tonight, your house remembers something important about you. You may feel calm. You may feel tired. You may feel like nothing is wrong. But calm moments are often the doorways to truth. As you lie down, your house listens. It listens to your heartbeat. It listens to your silence. It listens to the thoughts you never share with anyone. Something inside your home has been waiting for this exact pause in your life. Not because you are weak, but because you are finally quiet enough to receive it. Think about the last few weeks. The strange timing. The small signs you ignored. The moments that felt meaningless but stayed in your mind longer than they should have. Those were not random. Tonight is when the meaning connects. You might notice nothing at first. No sound. No movement. Just a subtle shift in how the room feels. That is how real changes begin. Soft. Unannounced. Unavoidable. There is a moment tonight where your breathing slows just a little more. A moment where your thoughts drift. And in that moment, something aligns. Not outside. Inside. Your house becomes a mirror. And mirrors do not lie. If you wake suddenly later, do not rush. If you feel a strange calm, do not question it. If a memory rises without warning, do not push it away. Those are signals, not interruptions. You have been carrying something heavy without realizing it. A question, a feeling, a truth you postponed. Tonight, your house helps you put it down. This is not about luck. This is not about coincidence. This is about timing. Choosing you instead of the other way around. Many people will sleep tonight and wake up the same. You will not. Because awareness changes posture. It changes breath. It changes the way morning feels before it even arrives. Right now, stay with me. Do not rush ahead. Do not assume you know where this goes. The night is still young. And what is about to unfold does not need belief. It only needs your attention. Your house already knows the rest. As the night deepens, your house begins to respond to you in ways you were never taught to notice. This is the hour when distractions fade, screens dim, voices disappear, and the world finally steps back. What remains is you, and the space that knows you best. There is a reason people say they think more clearly at night. It is because truth does not compete for attention when everything else goes quiet. Your house is not just shelter. It is a witness. Every step you have taken inside it has left an impression. Every emotion you tried to hide softened the air a little. Every unspoken hope settled into the corners. Tonight, those impressions align. You may feel the urge to pause this video and think. That is not an accident. That is recognition. Because somewhere inside your home, a realization is forming. Not dramatic. Not overwhelming. Just clear. It will feel like a sentence finishing itself in your mind. You have been waiting for confirmation without knowing what you were waiting for. Waiting for permission to trust your own awareness. Waiting for a sign that your instincts were not wrong. This is that sign. Nothing needs to move for change to happen. Nothing needs to appear. The shift happens internally, but it lasts externally. Your breathing slows because your body senses safety. Your thoughts soften because resistance is no longer needed. Your heart steadies because it recognizes alignment. Some people chase meaning their entire lives. Others encounter it quietly, late at night, when they finally stop running. Tonight belongs to the second kind. If you feel an unexpected calm, stay with it. If you feel a sudden clarity, do not dismiss it. If a thought repeats gently in your mind, listen closely. This is not imagination. This is awareness sharpening. Your house is helping you remember something important about yourself. Something you buried under routine. Something you postponed because timing never felt right. Timing feels right now. This is the moment when understanding replaces confusion. When stillness feels full instead of empty. When silence stops feeling lonely. Many will never experience this because they rush past it. They scroll. They skip. They fill the quiet with noise. You did not. And that choice matters more than you realize. Stay present. The night is still unfolding. And what comes next builds directly on what you are feeling right now. There is a point in the night when time feels different. Not slower. Not faster. Just softer. This is where you are now. If you listen carefully, you may notice how your house sounds when it is truly still. Not silent. Still. The air feels heavier, but calmer. The room feels closer, but safer. And your thoughts no longer race, they arrive. This is important, because clarity does not shout. It speaks once, and only to those who are present. Something about tonight separates it from other nights. You can feel it without knowing why. That feeling is not imagination. It is alignment. You have been living on the edge of a realization for longer than you admit. You sensed it in small moments, in sudden pauses, in thoughts that stopped you mid-action. Those were rehearsals. Tonight is the moment itself. Your house is not changing. You are. And when you change, everything around you responds. That is why certain memories are rising now. Not painful, not heavy, just clear. You are seeing patterns you once missed. Connections that only make sense in hindsight. Truths that no longer need defending. This is where many people turn away. Not because it is uncomfortable, but because it is undeniable. Staying here requires honesty. Not with anyone else. With yourself. If you feel a sudden understanding about a situation, trust it. If something finally makes sense, let it settle. If a quiet certainty replaces doubt, do not argue with it. You are not losing control. You are reclaiming it. Tonight is not dramatic on the surface. No noise. No spectacle. But inside, something locks into place. This is how lasting change happens. Not through force. Through recognition. You do not need to do anything right now. Just stay aware. Just stay open. Because the final piece is closer than you think. And it only reveals itself to those who remain present until the end. There is a final shift that happens just before the night releases you. It is subtle, but it is decisive. You may notice your body feels lighter than it did earlier. Not because anything was removed, but because something heavy finally settled into truth. This is the moment people remember later and say, that was the night everything quietly changed. Your house has done its part. It held the silence. It reflected your awareness. It allowed the pause you never gave yourself. Now the realization becomes yours to carry forward. What you understand tonight will influence how you walk tomorrow. How you listen. How you decide. How you trust yourself. Nothing dramatic needs to happen next. Life will look normal on the surface, but you will move differently inside it. That is the rare kind of change, the kind that lasts. If this moment feels meaningful to you, let it travel beyond this room. Somewhere, someone else needs the same quiet confirmation you just received. If a thought surfaced tonight that deserves a voice, let it exist. Unspoken understanding fades. Acknowledged truth stays. And if you choose to remain close to messages like this, you already know where to find them. Awareness always returns to places where it felt seen. Do not rush sleep. Let the night finish its work. Because when morning arrives, you will not be searching anymore. You will be recognizing. And that is how you know this night mattered. Just when you think the night is finished with you, it leaves one last imprint. Not loud, not urgent, precise. This is the part most people miss, because they assume understanding ends the moment clarity arrives. It does not. Clarity opens a door. What follows is recognition. You may feel an unexpected certainty about something that once confused you. A calm decision forming without effort. A sense that a chapter has quietly closed without drama. That is not imagination. That is resolution. Your house feels different now, even though nothing has moved. The space feels settled, as if it exhaled with you. Because unresolved moments create tension, and tension has weight. Tonight, that weight lifted. You will carry this forward in subtle ways. You will respond instead of react. You will notice instead of assume. You will pause instead of rush. These are not small changes. They reshape outcomes. People often wait for signs that shout, but the signs that matter whisper once and never repeat. This was one of them. If you wake later tonight, you may remember this moment clearly. Not the words, the feeling. That feeling is alignment. And alignment does not fade with sleep. Tomorrow, the world will look the same, but your position within it will not. That is how you know something real happened here. The night is complete, and so is this moment. There is a quiet power that arrives after everything has settled. Not excitement, not emotion, authority. This is the moment when you realize nothing needs to chase you anymore. What was meant to reach you already has. Your house is completely still now. Not watchful, not waiting, complete. And in that completeness, something rare happens. You stop doubting your own awareness. You no longer replay conversations. You no longer second-guess timing. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself internally. That inner noise has gone silent. This is the true outcome of tonight. Not a thought. A shift in position. You are no longer standing on the edge of understanding. You are standing inside it. That is why your body feels steady. That is why your breathing feels natural again. That is why the room feels honest. Most people spend years searching for this without knowing its shape. You met it in stillness. What changed tonight does not announce itself tomorrow. It shows up later, when a decision feels easier than expected. When clarity arrives faster than fear. When you recognize situations before they repeat. This is how momentum begins. Quietly, correctly. You do not need to hold on to this moment. It is already part of you. The night has nothing more to add. And you have nothing more to seek. Rest comes naturally now. Because alignment does not require effort. And when sleep finally takes you, it will not interrupt anything. It will complete it. There is a final awareness that settles just before everything fades into rest. It is not a thought. It is not a feeling. It is knowing. You know now that tonight was not empty time. You know now that nothing was wasted. You know now that something real completed itself quietly. Your house will look the same tomorrow. The walls will not speak. The rooms will not change. But you will. And that difference will be subtle enough to surprise you later. You will notice it when a moment that once confused you feels simple. When a choice that once felt heavy feels obvious. When you stop waiting for validation you no longer need. That is when this night returns to you. Not as memory, as confidence. People talk about turning points as if they are loud events. They are not. The real ones happen when no one is watching. When the world is quiet. When you finally hear yourself clearly. This was one of those moments. Nothing needs to be added. Nothing needs to be explained. Nothing needs to be repeated. What mattered has already happened. And as sleep finally takes over, it does not erase this night. It seals it. Because tomorrow, when you wake up, you will not be searching. You will be standing exactly where you need to be. Even after everything has settled, one truth remains quietly awake. It is the kind of truth that does not ask for attention. It waits. Tonight did not give you answers. It gave you certainty. And certainty changes how you move through life without asking permission. You may not talk about this night. You may not explain it to anyone. But you will feel it guiding you when no one is watching. Your house holds no secrets now. Because the only thing that needed revealing was already inside you. This is why the silence feels complete. This is why the night feels finished. This is why nothing feels missing. Some moments are meant to be understood, not remembered. This was one of them. You reached the end without rushing, without skipping, without needing more. That alone tells you everything. The night releases you now, and you carry forward exactly what you were meant to. Nothing more, nothing less. Just before the night fully lets go, there is a pause that feels different from all the others. Not empty, complete. This is when you realize that nothing else is coming, because nothing else is needed. The awareness you carry now is settled, not active. It does not push. It does not question. It simply exists. You may notice how natural your breathing feels, how quiet your thoughts are without effort, how the room feels balanced instead of heavy. That balance did not come from outside. It came from alignment finishing its work. You are not waiting anymore. Not for answers. Not for signs. Not for permission. That is the rarest shift of all. Many people live their entire lives reaching for something just beyond clarity. You stepped into clarity without chasing it. Tonight did not change your world. It changed your position within it. That difference will reveal itself slowly. In calm decisions. In confident pauses. In moments where doubt simply does not appear. This is how you know this night mattered. Nothing dramatic will announce it. No reminder will repeat it. But the steadiness will stay. The night has nothing left to offer. And you have nothing left to seek. Rest comes easily now. Because completion does not make noise. And when tomorrow arrives, it will meet you exactly where you are. This is the last quiet moment before everything resets. Not resets to zero. Resets to clarity. What you carry now does not need words anymore. It does not need reinforcement. It does not need repetition. It has settled. You may notice there is no urge to rush forward. No need to check what comes next. No curiosity left unanswered. That is how completion feels. The night did not give you something new. It returned something that was always yours. Presence. From this point on, you will recognize moments faster. You will sense direction without effort. You will trust silence instead of filling it. That is the change most people never name, but always feel. Nothing dramatic closes this night. No final signal. No final message. Just certainty. When sleep arrives, it will not interrupt awareness. It will rest on top of it. And when you wake, the world will feel familiar, but you will not be the same inside it. That is how you know this was real. The night is complete. And so are you. There is something unusual about this final stretch of the night. It does not feel like an ending. It feels like arrival. You are no longer processing what happened. You are no longer reflecting on meaning. You are simply here. And that is rare. Most people move through life half present, half elsewhere. Tonight brought you fully into yourself. That is why nothing feels unfinished. You may notice a quiet confidence settling in your chest. Not excitement. Not pride. Stability. This is the kind of strength that does not announce itself. It does not need witnesses. It does not need proof. It just holds. Your house is completely at rest now. Not because it is empty, because it is aligned with you. There is no more searching, no more scanning the future, no more replaying the past, only presence. If someone asked you tomorrow what changed tonight, you might not find the words. And that is how you will know it was real. Real shifts do not explain themselves. They simply become visible through how you live next. This is the point where the night stops teaching and starts trusting you. Everything you needed was received. Everything unnecessary was released. Nothing else needs to happen. And as this moment gently fades into rest, it leaves behind something permanent. You, clear, steady, ready. There is a rare stillness that appears only after everything important has already happened. You are inside it now. Nothing is pulling at you anymore. Nothing is asking for attention. Nothing feels unresolved. That is not emptiness. That is completion. The mind usually looks for the next thing. Tonight, it does not, because it recognizes that the circle has closed. You may notice how natural it feels to simply exist in this moment. No effort, no adjustment, no resistance. This is what alignment feels like when it becomes permanent. Your house is no longer reflecting anything back to you. It does not need to. The reflection has settled inside. From this point forward, clarity will show up quietly. In instincts you trust without debate. In choices that no longer drain you. In pauses that feel intelligent instead of uncertain. Nothing dramatic announces this shift. And that is why it lasts. Most changes fade because they are emotional. This one stays because it is structural. You are standing differently inside your own life now. Not louder, not faster, straighter. There is nothing left to interpret, nothing left to decode, nothing left to wait for. This moment does not need to be remembered. It will be recognized whenever it matters. The night has fully done its work, and what remains is steady, calm, and unmistakably yours. Stay here for a breath, just one. That is enough. There is a final layer of awareness that settles after everything else has gone quiet. It does not feel new. It feels familiar, like something you have always known but never trusted enough to hold. That is what changed tonight. You are no longer waiting for the right moment. You are no longer scanning for confirmation. You are no longer preparing yourself for something that might happen. You are ready because you already arrived. The room around you feels neutral now. Not charged, not empty, balanced. This is the point where the mind stops narrating and life starts responding. You may notice a subtle confidence in your posture. A grounded calm in your chest. A sense that you do not need to rush anything anymore. That is not comfort. That is authority. Most people confuse certainty with noise. True certainty is quiet. This night did not give you answers. It gave you alignment so clear that questions stopped forming. From here on, your instincts will feel cleaner. Your boundaries will feel natural. Your decisions will feel honest. Nothing about tomorrow needs to be predicted. You will recognize what matters when it appears. This is the kind of clarity that does not fade, because it is not emotional. It is structural. You are standing inside your life instead of thinking about it. That is the difference. And that difference will carry you forward without effort. There is a quiet moment right now that most people never reach. It is the moment after understanding, after certainty, after alignment. It is stillness without effort. You are not holding on to anything. You are not waiting for anything. You are simply present, and that presence feels complete. This is where real power settles. Not the kind that pushes forward, but the kind that cannot be shaken. Your house is no longer part of the experience. The night is no longer guiding you. Everything external has stepped back. What remains is you, steady and clear. This is when you realize that nothing about tonight was accidental. Not the timing, not the quiet, not your attention lasting this long. Most people leave before this point. They never discover how calm certainty truly feels. You stayed, and because you stayed, something locked into place inside you. Knowing that does not need explanation. A confidence that does not need permission. From this point forward, hesitation will feel unfamiliar. Not because life becomes simple, but because you stop fighting clarity. This is not an ending. It is a foundation. Everything that follows tomorrow will stand on what's settled tonight. And it will feel natural, unforced, right. There is a calm now that does not ask for your attention. It simply exists. You are no longer inside a moment. The moment is inside you. This is the stage most people never reach because it feels too quiet to be important. But this is where everything becomes real. You are not energized. You are not emotional. You are centered. That is strength without noise. Nothing is pulling you backward. Nothing is rushing you forward. You are exactly where you need to be. This is when you stop preparing for life and start inhabiting it. Your awareness feels steady because it is no longer shifting. Your thoughts feel minimal because they no longer need to solve anything. What's settled tonight is not temporary. It is not tied to mood. It is not dependent on circumstances. It is alignment that stays. Tomorrow will not test this. It will reveal it. You will notice how easily you move through situations that once drained you. How naturally you recognize what matters. How quickly you release what does not. That is how you know something permanent was installed here. There is nothing left to reach for. Nothing left to fix. Nothing left to question. This is completion in its purest form. And it carries forward without effort. There is a deep quiet now that does not feel empty. It feels earned. This is the kind of stillness that comes only after something real has finished its work. Not a pause. A conclusion. You are no longer reflecting on the night. You are no longer aware of time passing. You are simply grounded. This is where certainty becomes part of you, not something you think about. Nothing is asking for proof. Nothing is asking for explanation. Nothing is asking you to move. And that is how you know this is real. Your awareness feels settled because it is no longer searching for alignment. It found it. This is the moment when effort disappears. When clarity stops feeling like a breakthrough and starts feeling like your natural state. Most people never reach this because they leave too early. They mistake silence for nothing. You recognized it for what it is. From here on, life will not feel louder. It will feel clearer. You will not chase answers. You will recognize them. You will not brace yourself for change. You will move with it. This is the final layer locking into place. Nothing dramatic ends this night. Nothing needs to. Because what mattered did not need noise to arrive. It needed presence. And you stayed long enough to receive it. There is nothing left to unfold now, and that is the revelation. The night has gone as far as it needed to go. Not farther. Not shorter. You are no longer waiting for meaning to arrive. You are carrying it without effort. This is the moment when awareness becomes quiet confidence. Not something you hold. Something you are. Your mind feels clear because it has nothing to defend. Your body feels steady because it is no longer reacting. Your presence feels strong because it is no longer divided. Most people never notice when this happens. They move past it too quickly. They fill it with noise. You did not. And because you stayed, something irreversible settled. From this point forward, you will recognize yourself faster in every situation. You will know when to speak. You will know when to wait. You will know when something aligns and when it does not. This is not intuition sharpening. This is identity stabilizing. Nothing dramatic announces this change. It does not need to. It shows up later, when life presents a moment that once would have shaken you, and it does not. That is when you will remember this night, not as a sequence of words, but as the point where everything inside you stopped shifting and finally stood still. This is where the night truly ends, and what remains is solid, calm, and unmistakably yours. There is a stillness now that feels absolute, not fragile, not temporary, final. This is the point where the night stops being an experience and becomes a reference. You are no longer inside something unfolding. You are inside something completed. Nothing in you is reaching outward anymore. Nothing is scanning for what comes next. Everything feels placed exactly where it belongs. That is the rarest state a person reaches. You are not calm because nothing is wrong. You are calm because nothing inside you is unresolved. Your awareness feels whole. Your attention feels unified. Your presence feels unshaken. This is not restlessness ending. This is stability beginning. From this point forward, your reactions will be slower, but sharper. Your choices quieter, but stronger. Your direction clearer, without effort. This night did not add anything to you. It removed what was unnecessary, and what remains is solid. Most people never feel this because they mistake movement for progress. You discovered that stillness can be decisive. Nothing more needs to be said. Nothing more needs to be felt. Nothing more needs to happen. The night has fully closed, and what stays with you now is something you will recognize for the rest of your life as certainty without noise.